Well, good Thursday morning to everyone. Good Thursday morning. We are at another game in the 1987 Strat-O-Matic replay, American League replay, I should specify. We're at game number 218, the final game on May the 12th. And we are at Cleveland Municipal Stadium, otherwise known as the Mistake by the Lake, for the game between the Texas Rangers and the Cleveland Indians. Possibly the two oldest pitchers ever to start a game against each other. I don't know, at least in recent memory. Steve Carlton and Charlie Hough, they're both up there. Records for these two teams, not very good. Texas 12-16, Cleveland 14-17. Cleveland Stadium, singles are 1-11 for both left and right. Home runs, a little bit better for righties with an 11, where lefties get an 8. And not much else really to talk about on that other than what you see. And I do see that I had the wrong dice. So let me, I had the big dice and I really need the little dice. So just by habit, I got the big dice because I'm so used to the big dice, but really need the little dice if we're going to roll it on the score sheet and not do the, hello, Bob. Good to see you. I've had my coffee, so I think I'm okay now. Bring up the Strat computer so that we can get the stats for you as we play. I'm not going to score the game as we play. I'll score it later. But I will bring up the stats for each of the teams so that we have them handy. So starting pitcher is Steve Carlton for the Cleveland Indians. He will later get traded to Minnesota, but right now he's in Cleveland land. And he's been the bullpen for the first part of the season. This will be his first start. He's pitched in 9 games, all in relief. He's 1-0 with a 2.16 earned run average and 2 saves, 16 2/3, 14 hits, 9 walks, 9 strikeouts. But this will be his first start. And he'll be facing a Texas lineup. Pretty standard lineup for Texas. The only difference is Jeff Kunkel's at second base and not Jerry Brown. But other than that, it's a pretty standard lineup. And I'd say it's pretty much a standard lineup for both teams. Except Franco is still a DH and Snyder's still at short. So I'm thinking Franco had maybe some arm problems or something as to why they're DHing him, because it's like the 3rd or 4th game in a row they've DH'd him. So I don't know what the story was behind that. Hello, Chuck. So leading off will be Oddibe McDowell. McDowell on the replay is not doing so well. He's only hitting a .186. He's 11 of 59. He did miss some time with some injuries. Homer and 5 driven in, and he hit 241 real world. So he's definitely way below that. Lefty on lefty matchup with Steve Carlton, and we're underway from Cleveland. 3-7, and that's going to be a strikeout. So McDowell strikes out to start the ball game. Steve Carlton puts him away. Here's Scott Fletcher. Fletcher on the replay is hitting 290, a homer and 20 driven in. Real world, he hit 287, so he's pretty much right on line where he should be. We get a 5-10 on Carlton. That's a ballpark blast. It's a 1-11, but that's a 13. He had weak power anyway, so it would have been a home run anyway. It would have been a single, but instead it's a fly to left. That's out number 2. So 2 up and 2 down. Carlton's off to a good start in his first start. And that'll bring up Ruben Sierra, hitting 269, 11 homers, and 24 driven in. We get a 5-6 switch hitter batting right-handed, and that's a base on balls. So the first walk issued by Carlton. Carlton's hold is a -1. Dempsey's a +1 for a net 0. So if Sierra wanted to get the lead, a 3 or a 6, 7, 8 would get him the lead. 11, he'd be caught stealing automatically. I call it a pickoff. But we'll see if he can get the lead. That's a 3. He does get the lead. So he will go. He's a 15. Being held makes him a 13. Pitcher-catcher holds a 0. 1-13, he steals it. Sierra on the season has 1 stolen base and was caught once. So he's 1 for 2. Make it 2 for 3 as he steals second base. Gets himself into scoring position for Pete Incaviglia. Turn this now into a clutch situation. Incaviglia will lose a hit on a 1-8 in the clutch against lefties. On the season, Incaviglia hitting 208 on the replay, 22 out of 106. 4 homers, 15 driven in. He has struck out 43 times. First havoc roll, nothing happening. We get a 2-8, and that's going to be a 1 for a home run. Anything else is a double. That'll be a double. And with a runner on second, that will score the run. So Pete Incaviglia, an RBI double, will score Sierra. And the Rangers lead it 1-0 for Incaviglia. That is RBI number 16. So I'll bring up Pete O'Brien, 1-0 Texas. Lefty on lefty against Carlton. O'Brien hitting .353 on the replay. 7 home runs, 21 driven in. It's a 3-8 to the lefty. It's a ground ball to third. And that's handled by Jacoby to end the inning. But Texas does put a run on the board in the first. We go to the bottom of the first. Texas nothing, and Cleveland coming to bat. And Chuck and Bob or anybody else that's around, I did have one snafu when I was setting up these last 2 games for the Strat replay on the Strat computer. I inadvertently had the Detroit, California game on auto versus hold, and it auto-played. So I didn't get a chance to play that game. Detroit blew out California to win, but I never got a chance to play it. It had auto-played before I even knew what happened. So that's why there's no game for California, Detroit like I had planned, because I accidentally hit the autoplay. But that happens once in a while. All right, here's Charlie Hough facing Brett Butler. Hough on the replay is 5-1, surprisingly, with a 2.93 earned run average. This will be start number 8. He has completed 3 games and has a shutout. 55 1/3 innings, only 38 hits, 15 walks, and 40 strikeouts. And he'll be facing Brett Butler, leadoff man for the Cleveland Indians. And Butler on the replay is hitting .429, only 49 at bats, 21 out of 49 because he was injured a lot in April. So it doesn't qualify for the batting lead just yet. No homers or run driven in. He has stolen 8 bases, gotten caught in 4 times. 4-4 against Hough. Left-handed batter is a ballpark single check. It's a 1-11, but that's a 13. So it'll be a ground ball back to Hough, and that's 1 away. So that kind of bummed me out that happened to me. And I thought I had everything on hold, and I was going to get out of the menu. And so I said, okay, play the day, because everything was going to be on hold. And lo and behold, here comes the computer spitting out a 15-3 score or whatever it was. So I was, mildly disappointed about that. So I'll try to make sure I don't make that mistake again. All right, Julio Franco hitting .318, 42 out of 132, 2 homers, 17 driven in. That's a 1-4 against a right-hander, and that's a base on balls. So Franco will draw the walk. Franco has stolen, well, he's not done well. He's stolen 1 base, but he's been caught 4 times. So even with his good numbers, he's gotten some bad rolls, but, persistence, I guess, is a virtue. He's going to try for that lead. It's a 6. He does not get the lead, so he will hold. And here's Joe Carter. Let me move these over here. Give me more room to roll the dice, I think, if I put these guys over here. All right, so here's Joe Carter. He's definitely been struggling. A $175, 4 homers, 6 driven in, and 135 at bats. He only has 24 hits, and only 7 of those have been extra bases. So he's definitely been on the struggling side. 3-10 for Carter, and that's a fly ball to left field. Hauled in by Incaviglia for 2 away. That brings us to Mel Hall, left fielder. Mel Hall on the replay is hitting .315, 4 homers, and 14 runs driven in. Nothing on the havoc. Hello, Midlife. Hello, Tony. Yeah, Urbano Lugo was terrible. He got killed in that autoplay. He gave up like 8 runs in 2 innings or something. So, yeah, I have it set up where I don't say box score, so I don't know the box score. I just saw the line score. 3-7 for Hall is a single to right field. So we'll see if Franco can get third base. He should be able to with 2 outs. Now, he was being held, makes him a 14, but 2 outs makes him a 16. First to third, you add 2 more, gives him an 18. Sierra, though, is a -2, making him a 16. But if you throw through, then Hall's going to take second base. So I think on a 1-16, they will allow Franco to get third base and hold Hall at first base. So Hall will stay put. Runners at the corners, 2 down for Pat Tabler. This is a clutch situation. Tabler hitting .385 on replay, 50 out of 130. 4 homers, 20 driven in. In the clutch, Tabler is completely neutral. He has no effect on the clutch. That's a 2, so chance of a balk or a pass ball. That's a chance of a balk on Charlie Hough. His balk rating is a 13, and this could bring home a run. It slid off the table as an 18, so we'll go with it. It got on the card here. I aimed too far that way, but it's no balk rather. So we're going to have Tabler hit, and that is a 3-10 for Tabler, and that's a walk. It's going to load the bases. I'm going to get my dice rolling where it finishes on the score sheet instead of having to fly all over the place. All right, here is Tony Bernazard. He will later get traded to Oakland, but right now he's still on Cleveland. And on the replay, Bernazard is hitting .267, 4 homers, 17 driven in. Bases are loaded with 2 outs. Clutch situation, obviously. He loses a hit on a 110, and he also loses a hit on a 2-9 and a 2-10 and a 3-12. So he's definitely anti-clutch, if you want to call it that. That's a 1-8, and that's going to be a walk. Bases loaded walk issued by Charlie Hough. A third walk of the inning on Charlie Hough, and that's going to force in the tying run. We are tied at 1 apiece. I don't expect this to be a pitching duel by any means. This game may go on till noon. So bases are still loaded, 2 outs. We're tied at 1, and here's Corey Snyder. Snyder hitting .236, 4 homers, 14 driven in. Against Charlie Hough, who's trying to get out of this mess. Whoa, went way over here. 1-6, and that's a strikeout to end the inning. But after 1, we are tied at 1. Like I said, I don't expect it to be a 3-2 game at the end. We're expecting lots of fireworks here. I don't imagine either start will be around that long. All right, here's Larry Parrish. Parrish on the replay. Let's get back to Texas's stats. Parrish, primarily a designated hitter, does play third base once in a while. Parrish on the replay is hitting, there he is, .247, 5 homers, 14 driven in. 2-6, and that's going to be a strikeout. So Carlton gets his second strikeout. Now watch when I say this, it'll be a 3-2 final with both pitchers going 8 innings. All right, here's Don Slaught. Slaught hitting .290, 5 homers, 13 driven in. 110 against the lefty is a single. So a single for Don Slaught. No threat to run. He will not be held. And here is Steve Buechele, third baseman. Buechele on the replay is hitting .227, 3 homers, 13 driven in. Nothing on the havoc. 4-5 to the right-hander is a fly ball to left. Mel Hall brings it in, 2 down, and it's Jeff Kunkel, second baseman. Only had 32 at-bats real world. In the replay, Kunkel is 1 for 2. He's hitting .500, but he's 1 for 2, so take that with a grain of salt. Against Carlton, 3-8, and he's going to strike out to end the inning. So Carlton gets out of the mess. Go to the bottom of the second. Still tied at 1, and Charlie Hough will be facing Brooke Jacoby, one of the league's leading hitters in the replay. Back to Cleveland stats. Jacoby is hitting .360, 4 homers, and 21 driven in. He's 40 out of 111. 1-9, and that's 110 would have been a home run, or at least a home run chance. Actually, it would have been a home run on the D20, but it will be a ground ball to short instead. And Fletcher puts it away. 1 down for the aged Rick Dempsey. Dempsey on the replay hitting a .92, 10 out of 52. No homers and a run driven in. He hit 177 real world. So the fact that he's hitting 192 is about right. 410 for Hough is a fly ball to right field. Hauled in by Sierra, 2 down, and we're back to the top of the order and Brett Butler. And now that everybody's had it bad, I can kind of hide these stats a little bit and be able to see the computer screen a little better. All right, so Hough with 2 outs and the base is clear. Hough will be facing Brett Butler. Butler grounded back to Hough his first chance, 4-4. Might do it again. I think it's the same roll. Ballpark single check, 1-11. That's a 15. It's a ground ball right back to Hough. So I believe that's the same roll he got twice. But anyway, at the end of 2, we're tied at a run apiece. Not the sexiest matchup on the schedule, but you got to play them as they lie if you're going to play them. All right, here's O to B McDowell. Each team has somebody that's, nice to follow or watch or whatever to make it interesting. So each team at least has a couple guys that fall into that category. 1-5 for McDowell is a leadoff walk against Carlton. So McDowell with a leadoff walk, and he will be looking to get a lead. He needs a 4 or a 6 to obtain the lead. McDowell on the replay. Let's get his stolen base numbers. McDowell, go back to Texas. McDowell on the replay is 1 for 2. Stole 1 base, got caught once. He's going to try for that lead. 9, he does not get the lead, so doesn't have to worry about it. But that is a 2, so that means it's a possible pickoff on, it's a possible balk on Carlton. His balk rating is a 13, so he could force Carlton to balk. And he did, so McDowell doesn't get the jump, but he dances around enough to make Carlton balk. So Carlton will balk, and that'll put McDowell at second base anyway for Scott Fletcher. Almost missed the fact that D20 had a 2 on it. All right, here is Fletcher. Flew to left his first chance. 3-3, and that's a pop-up to first base. Easy play for Tabler, 1 away. Big out to get there. Here's Ruben Sierra. Batting from the right side. That's a 1. Chance of a wild pitch on Carlton. His wild pitch rating is a 9. So 1-9, he will wild pitch McDowell to third base. But he does not. It is blocked by Dempsey. Good block. Here's Sierra, 5-12. Switcher to batting right-handed. 5-12 is a split. 1-12 is a single. That's a 7, so it'll be a single. It's only 1 star. Puts runners on the corners. Texas in business. Runners on the corners with 1 out. Sierra is going to be held, but he won't try to go anywhere. They don't want to make the second out with a guy at third base where Incavilla could bring him home with a sac fly or something like that. You don't want to run yourself out of an inning. That's a 2, chance of a balk or a pass ball. We're checking the pass ball on Dempsey. He's a 3. No pass ball. That will send up Incavilla. And the infield's looking for the double play. They're back. 3-7, and that's a 1 for a triple. Anything else is a single 2 stars. It doesn't matter how they were playing. It's a single 2 stars. And Texas has just grabbed the lead, 2-1. Coming in is McDowell, RBI single by Incavilla. He already has an RBI double. Now he's got an RBI single. Sierra will take third base, so runners are at the corners. Still only 1 out, and Texas now leading 2-1. Hello, Roger. Good to see you. Infield still looking for that double play on Pete O'Brien. Incavilla, of course, not being held. 3-3 to the lefty, and that's a line out to short. So Corey Snyder snags it for out number 2. Everybody holds, and here's the DH, Larry Parrish. Again, runners at the corners, 2 down. 2-11 for Parrish, and that's a walk. It's going to load the bases. And for Carlton, that is his 3rd walk of the game to go with 3 strikeouts. 3 strikeouts and 3 walks. Bases are loaded for Don Slaught, the catcher. Bases loaded, 2 outs. In the clutch, I notice he loses a hit on 110. Looks like he's neutral everywhere else. It's a 3-9, and that's another walk. He's going to force in a run. That's the same thing Hough did in the first inning, where we have control problems for these pitchers. Carlton walks in a run. It's now 3-1 Texas. Unbelievable. Control issues continue. It's 3-1 Texas. Buechele now up. And in the clutch for Buechele, he gets 1 hit extra on a 1-4. That's his only effect for the clutch is the 1-4. Anything else, he'll be neutral. That's a 4-2, and that's going to be a ballpark single check. That's an 8, and that's going to be a single. It's only a 1-star single, but it's going to be a single nonetheless. And coming in is going to be Incaviglia for the 3rd run of the inning. The bases remain loaded. And Jeff Kunkel, the 9th man to bat in the inning, steps to the plate. Cleveland bullpen already starting to stir. 1-7 for Kunkel. That's a single 1-9. That's a 6. It'll be another single 1-star. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. And Parrish will score 4 runs in the inning. The bases are still loaded. Texas will now bat around. And the Cleveland bullpen, they're looking for their long relief guy. They acquired Mark Huseman from Seattle, but he's not on the roster yet. It's going to take, he's got to have time to fly up, into Cleveland and so forth. So he's not really available. They do look at Rich Yett. So Rich Yett is loosening in the bullpen. He could very well come in. I think they're going to give Carlton a chance to get McDowell, and that's going to be it. If he doesn't get McDowell, he's coming out. 4 runs are already in. It's 5-1. Bases are still low for McDowell, who walked to lead off the inning. Get a 4-10, and that's a ballpark single check, and that's a 6. So it's another single in the ballpark. And that's going to be it for Carlton. He can't go any further. He's going to have to be relieved. He's going to give up 6 runs at least. Might give up more, depending on what Mr. Yett does in relief. So Rich Yett, and this is the kind of game I was expecting on both sides, but particularly on the Cleveland side. I didn't think Carlton would do very much as a starter. So let's get the numbers on Rich Yett on the replay. He's kind of been their guy to bring in when the chips are down and they need somebody to eat some innings. He's kind of been the guy they've gone to. On the replay, Rich Yett is 0-1 with a 4.50 earned run average. He does have a save. This will be appearance number 14 for Rich Yett. He's gone 26 innings, 22 hits, 16 walks, 15 strikeouts. So he's averaging about 2 innings an appearance. And they like him basically to eat as many innings as he can. He's got a relief rating of 3. So bases are loaded, 2 outs. And Scott Fletcher, the batter. Fletcher has a chance to make the 2nd out of the inning, out of the 3, if Yett can get him. 2-10. A split chance. A 1's a single, anything else he lines to short, and that's going to finally end the inning on a liner to short. But a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-run inning for the Texas Rangers. We can close the book on Carlton now. Carlton's going to go 2 2/3. Going to give up 6 runs. They were all earned. And the walks were really his undoing. 1, 2, 3, 4 walks. 3 strikeouts. And all these hits, most of them singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits. So not a good outing there for Carlton, and they're going to hope that Rich Yett can eat some innings. Positive part for Cleveland is they've got the offense to come back. That's the only bright spot for them, is they do have the offense to come back. All right, here is Franco. He walked and scored his first time up. That's a 3-5. 3-5 is going to be a leadoff walk, so we're back to the walks again. And that is the 4th walk issued by Hough So he's not exactly fooling them either. Franco, again, has a chance to get the lead on a 2 through 5. Does not obtain the lead, so he will hold. And here's the struggling Joe Carter. Roger, to answer your question, these are not the neatest kept. But yes, they're all right here. All of them are right here. I haven't put them all in one big notebook when I'm all said and done, but they're all right here. They're two-sided, so I got 2 games per sheet, and I, keep them by day, calendar day. But yes, they will go in some big, huge folder at the end of the season. But yes, I do not throw them away now. All right, here's Joe Carter. 2-4. And that's a ground ball third base A. It's going to be a 5-6-3 or 5-4-3 rather double play. Not what Cleveland needed. Joe Carter has been the wet blanket for the Indians the whole season. He just had a miserable season so far. Maybe he'll turn it around later. Here's Mel Hall. 2-8, and he's going to hit a single. So that, boy, how big was that double play now? Mel Hall will be on, and here's Pat Tabler. Havoc roll, nothing happening. 3-9 for Tabler against the right-handers, a fly to center, and that's going to end the inning. So nothing doing there. It's still 6-1 Texas. And Rich Yett back out there to just eat innings, lack of a better term. He's going to be an inning eater. Remember the Hall & Oates song, Man Eater? Well, he's an inning eater. Maybe that should be his walk-up music when he comes in to relieve. 6-10, switch hitter batting left, and that's a 1-9 home run, but that's a 13, so it'll only be a double for Ruben Sierra. Just a double. You know your pitching's bad when you're relieved that you only allowed a double instead of a home run. Here's Incaviglia. 2-3 for Incaviglia. That's a ballpark single check, 1-11. That's a 10. It'll be a base hit. So runners at the corners. And boy, Texas I just had a feeling this was going to be the kind of game it was. It's not going to be pretty. O'Brien now. The infield's looking for the double play. They need outs. 4-9, and that's a walk, so they won't get that either. That'll load the bases. Bases are loaded for Larry Parrish. Bases loaded, Larry Parrish. Still looking for that double play. 1-7, he got a strikeout. That will certainly help. Now a double play would get him out of the inning. And it's Don Slaught, the batter. He is a double play candidate. Peach ice cream day, huh? All right, there's always a day for something. I don't know who comes up with these things. Somebody sits down and thinks up what day it should be. That's a 2-8, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop A, just what they wanted. 6-4-3 double play, and Rich Yett, the escape artist, gets out of it with no damage done. Won't pretty, but he got it done, as they say. My question is there a National Strat-O-Matic Day? All right, Tony Bernazard will lead off against Charlie Hough. We get a 4-4, switch hitter batting left. That's ballpark single, but that's a 20, so it's going to be a ground ball back to Hough again. That's the third time that they've hit the 4-4 on Hough, and every single time it's been an out. It has not been a single. Whereas Texas gets their ballpark chances, and they seem to be singles all the time. So one team just seems to be doomed by the D20. I don't know why it is, but it seems like the D20 picks a favorite team. 4-9's a strikeout. That's only the second strikeout for Hough. So it gets Corey Snyder. And here's Jacoby. 3-10 for Jacoby. It's a ground ball to short, and that's going to end the inning. 1-2-3. Go the Tribe. Well, some of them, a lot of the replays, some of them I've kept, some of them I haven't. So it just depends. Certain ones I've kept, certain ones I have not. All right. If I just do one-off things or whatever, I'm not keeping those. I think I've kept my first foray into a replay was the History Maker Baseball 1987 Atlanta Braves. I do have the binder on that with all the score sheets and everything. I did keep that. I did keep the score sheets because I had the actual notebook I had printed up for the White Sox 77 replay that I did. So I've got that. I've got the Washington Nationals 2019 inside pitch replay because I have a Bob Carpenter score sheet full of those, where it's scorebook, I should say, not score sheet. So it's all together. It's easier to keep everything when you have it all bound together. If there's loose pieces of paper, it's a little bit harder. Now on this one, I'll put it in a little folder to try to keep it together. But yeah, sometimes it just depends on my mood if I keep it or not. I want to have trouble keeping up with it. 3-4, and for Bouchel, that is a ground ball to second. Bernazard makes the play, one away for Jeff Kunkel. (6-4). That's a pop up to first base. Pat Tabler makes the play. Maybe Rich Yett can get a 1-2-3 inning out of this. We shall see. Is McDowell 3-4, and he does. It's a ground ball to first. And Tabler will take it to the bag himself, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Rich Yett. The Carpenter books are nice. They are kind of pricey, but they're nice. Yeah, I agree, Tony. That's why I did it for the Nationals replay. If I just doing one team, it makes it really nice because I can do all 162 games and still have room left over because I bought the radio version, which is 200 score sheets. Like I said, they're nice, good quality, lots of room, little pricey to do a whole lot of them. But when I did the Nationals replay and inside pitch, I think it served the purpose very well with that. All right, here's Rick Dempsey against Charlie Hough. And I just recently saw where he's retiring from the booth. So this will be his last season calling Washington National games. It's a 3-8 for Dempsey, and that is a strikeout. One away. And unfortunately, I have the MLB package that I got free from T-Mobile. I wasn't going to pay for it, but I got it free as being a T-Mobile customer. However, the Washington National games are blacked out in this area as all the Oriole games. So I can watch them the next day, but I can't watch them live. They're blacked out. So way to go, MLB, on that one. So I have Dish Network, and they don't carry the Masson coverage, which would be covering the Nats and the Orioles. So I can't get them that way, and I can't get them through MLB because MLB blocked it out. 2-5 for Brett Butler, and there's a walk. How baseball has stood the test of time, I don't know, because the people running it are just jokes, and they try to do everything they can to ruin it. And they did kind of ruin it for me, to be honest with you. So it took a lot to get me away from modern baseball, but they've done it. So, all right, here's Brett Butler. Will he try to? They're down 6-1, so I really don't think they're going to try to steal here. Here's Franco. Whoops. Ooh, I just dropped my die. Here's Franco. Nothing on the Havoc for Franco. To 2-9 for Franco. And that's a line out to second base for out number 2 as Kunkel snares it. So actually, Charlie Hough pitching himself quite another good ball game. Here's Joe Carter. Nothing on the Havoc. 5-3, and that's a ground ball first base C. So when it's a C, I generally like to say that the first baseman O'Brien fielded it, flipped to Hough covering for the out. Just to give a little variety, I got that from Tim Clee, baseball fan. He's where I picked that up from. Do that for X chances and C chances. A and B, I just say he takes the bag himself. It's no rule on Strat for that, just personal preference. All right, here's Scott Fletcher. I'm not sure once I finish this if I would do. I'm not doing a ghost runner, that's for sure. But if I do another one single season team replay, it's going to be without a DH. That's the only downside to this replay is I got to deal with the DH every day. That's the only downside. 6-8. 6. Boy, how does one die get so much bigger than the other die? Did I pick up a wrong dice or something? Look, I just noticed that the 1d6 is a lot smaller than the other. All right, 6-8. That's an in-home run chance 1-4. It's going to be a double with the 9 there. So Fletcher leads off with a double. I'm going to see if I can get another D6 that are the same size. I just noticed that this one was a lot smaller. Don't know where that came from. Let's see if I can find another one. I may not have another one. I think this is, I'm going to have to go with this. I don't have any choice because I don't have any other dice that are that small. I just don't. No, I'm looking. It's probably buried in another Strat box somewhere, but to have it handy, I don't have it handy, so we'll have to go with the different sized stuff. All right, so leadoff double for Scott Fletcher, and that'll bring up Ruben Sierra. Nothing on the Havoc. Sierra has walked, singled, and doubled. 2-9, split chance. That's going to be a line out to second base. 1 away. Tomorrow is Fun Day, Friday Fun Day, and I'll probably record it later today for consumption tomorrow. But I'll be picking what Friday Fun Day is. If you're not aware, is I'm going to pick a game I haven't played in a while. I've played, I own, but I haven't played in a long time. And I'm just going to pick a random game and play it just to be different and put something else, a different game engine out to break up the monotony. So that's why I call it Fun Day Friday. All right, that's a 2, chance of a balk or a pass ball. We're looking at a balk rating on Rich Yet. So I need to go to the Strat computer and get the balk rating on Rich Yet because the cards in 87 do not have that information on the pitching card. Rich Yet's wild pitch rating is 18, his balk is a 0. So there is no balk. So we can move forward since there is no balk. Get a 2-8 for Incaviglia. That's a 1-5 triple. Anything else he flies to left. So he will hit a fly ball to left field for 2 down. And that'll bring up Pete O'Brien. Here's O'Brien. 6-9. That's trouble for Yet. 1-3 is a triple. 4-20 is a single. That's a 2. So Pete O'Brien did have 1 triple in real world. So we'll give it to him. I won't change it to a double. I'll keep it a triple. Triple for O'Brien is an RBI triple. The score to run, whether it's double or triple. In fact, did I hit something here? Why is this thing doing that to me? There we go. Must have bumped into something. Let me go to the Strat computer and find out how many triples he already has. I don't want to give him an excess number of triples here. So that was O'Brien. Let's see if he's got any triples on the replay already. O'Brien does not. So this is his first triple. So we'll give him the triple. It is now 7-1 in favor of Texas. 2 outs and Larry Parrish, the batter. 6-5, and that's a ballpark blast. 1-11, but that's a 19. It's a deep fly to left, and Rich Yet got away with that one. So he gives up the run, but that's it. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. 7-1 in favor of Texas. Mel Hall back out. And Hall in this ball game is 2 for 2. Singled twice. 5-2, but not this time. Ground ball first base C. So once again, 3-1 put out. Here's Tabler. 4-8. Right-hander is a base on ball. So yet another walk by Hough. And that is walk number 6 for Charlie Hough. He's having some control issues. Here's Bernazard. 3-6 for Bernazard is a ground ball second base A, and that's a pitcher's best friend. 4-6-3 to double play. Second double play that the Indians have hit into. They hit into one in the third, and they hit into one here to end the inning in the sixth. So at the end of 6, it is 7-1 Texas. And yet on the verge of fatigue, but he's going to try to stick it out for one more inning, help save that bullpen. Slot 3-10. That's a fly to left, and there's one away. Brings up Bouchel. 4-8 for Bouchel, and that's a walk. That seems to be a theme of the ball game, are walks. Brings up Jeff Kunkel. 11. Fly ball right field X. One of the rare, I think it's the first X chance of the game. Right field X is going to be Joe Carter. He's a 2E14. 2 and a 6. Should get to that, you would think. We'll check it out. A 2 and a 6 is going to be an F2, so he'll get to it. That's a total of 9, and he's an E14. E14, there's no 9, so Joe Carter will, in fact, make the play for out number 2. Brings up Oda B. McDowell. McDowell. Nothing on the havoc. 1-9 is another walk. Just what we needed. Another walk. That puts runners at first and second with 2 down for Scott Fletcher. To 4-7, and that's a 1-4 double. Anything else he flies to center, he will fly to center, and that will do it for Rich Yett. So they got good work out of Rich Yett, 4 1/3 innings. And he will get a few days off to recover after that. But Rich Yett did his job, basically just saving the bullpen for later games. Hello, Justin. Good to see you. So let's do the numbers on Yett. Let's see. He gives up 1, 2, 3, 4 hits and a run, which was earned. He walked 3. Again, that's prevalent in this game, these walks. And he struck out just the 1. And then we'll figure out who's going to come in the 8th inning when we get there. Right now, we're at the bottom of the 7th, which usually means 7th inning stretch, but I'm going to go ahead and just keep playing, not worry about 7th inning stretch today. Here's Brooke Jacoby. It's a 2-5, and that's going to be a 1 for a double. Anything else he flies up, but that is a 1. So how about that? Jacoby gets himself a double on a 2-5. That 1 showed up. That 5% chance showed up, and Jacoby is on. Here's I'm sorry, it should have been Rick Dempsey. I mean, I should have been Snyder, not Jacoby. What am I doing? So the 2-6 was actually a strikeout. So let's fix that. 2-6 was, sorry about banging that, but I had the wrong guy up there. So that's actually going to be a strikeout for Hough. And for Hough, that is strikeout number 4. So it should have been Snyder's at bat, not Jacoby's at bat. So that was a strikeout, not a double. Now Jacoby gets to bat. 2-9, and he grounds to third base. That's out number 2. Normally I'd pinch hit for Rick Dempsey in this situation, but with 2 outs and the base is empty, you might as well let him hit. It's probably a lost cause anyway. 5-5, and look at this. He gets off the pitcher card. 1-3 is a triple. Anything else is a double. So it's a 2-out double for Rick Dempsey. A 2-out double for Rick Dempsey. Where if I had a left-handed pinch hitter, he would have flown out. So go figure. Hey, Charles, good to see you. That's a long time, 42 years. I've only been playing Strat since 2015, so about 10 years. That's a 1. Chance of a wild pitch on Hough. His wild pitch rating is an 8. And that's 12. He stays put. Charles, do you play super advanced, basic? How do you do your your strat. Because like I said, there's different ways to play it. Some people play it in a what they call a morphine, where you mix rules from different things. There's Butler 6-11 against Hough. Ground ball pitcher X. We're going to an X chance on Charlie Hough. Charlie Hough. Let's see. He's an E6, but what is his range? It doesn't tell me. I got to go to the Strat computer to get his range. Probably a 3, but it could be something else. Could be a 2. Let's see here. Hough. What is your range? He is a... Wow, he's a 1. How about that? Charlie Hough is rated as a 1 range. Wow. 1 range. Okay. That means he's going to get to it, so there's no need to roll for the... Well, I'll roll it anyway just for the heck of it. That's a 14. So on the pitcher, a 1 and a 14 is a G1. He is an E6, and that is a 12. E6, there's a 13, but no 12, so Hough will make the play, and that will end the inning. So we go to the 8th, and Hough is obviously going to keep going. He's got some endurance still left in him. Now, the Indians, they're going to go to the mop-up guys, because this is the kind of game you use mop-up guys. And you can tell the difference between the cards that Joel Anderson sent me and the cards I print myself. So Frank Willis, I printed myself off the Strat computer. I don't have this kind of technology, but Frank Willis will be in relief. He doesn't get to pitch much, so I figured this is a great time to bring him in when it's getting out of hand. We go to the 8th inning. So Frank Willis will come in and pitch. Hello, D. Scott. Good to see you. So let's see here what the stats are on Frank Willis. I'm sure it's a minimal pitching has occurred. And actually, he's done well. This will be his 4th game. He's only pitched 2 2/3 innings, but he's got an ERA of 0. 4 hits. He gave up 1 run, but it was unearned. 2 walks and 4 strikeouts. So he's actually done very well, but obviously he hasn't pitched much, so he definitely needs the work. And this is exactly the kind of game you want to have him in. Get a game like this. All right, so leading off will be Ruben Sierra, followed by Incaviglia and O'Brien. So we get a 1-8 for Sierra against the right-hander, and again, a walk. What else is new? For Cleveland pitching, that is the 8th walk of the game. And with the score being what it is, we're not going to hold the runners, and we're not going to have any steal attempts. 2, chance for a balk or a pass ball. We're checking the pass ball rating on the catcher Dempsey. He's a 3, and there's no pass ball. So here's a pitch to Incaviglia. It's a 4-5 on Willis, and that's a strikeout. Or Wills. I keep calling him Willis. It's actually Wills. Not Willis, but Wills. So he strikes out Incaviglia. That's nothing new, but here's O'Brien. 3-3 for O'Brien. Pops it up to first base, and that's going to be handled by Tabler. 2 down for Larry Parrish. 1-6, and he struck him out. So, boy, Frank Wills pitches an excellent 8th inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Charlie Hough's still in there. He's got most of his endurance still remaining. And he's going to face Julio Franco. 3-6 for Franco, and that's a walk. What else is new? Yet another walk. For Hough, that is walk number 7. He has walked 7. Cleveland pitching has walked 8, so we have 15 walks already in this game. So here's Joe Carter. Oh, 5-5, and that's going to be a 1-3 triple, 4-20 is a double. It'll be a double for Joe Carter. And down 7-1, they will hold with nobody out. They will hold Franco at third base. So second and third, nobody out. Mel Hall, the batter. Charlie Hough getting close to fatigue at this point. Infield is back. They'll allow the run. 3-10 for Hall. Ground ball pitcher A, but that's considered in. The pitcher is considered in. So they will have to hold the runner right there with the ball hit right back to the mound. That will hold the runners at second and third. So here's Pat Tabler. 2-5 for Tabler, and that's going to get the runs home. 1-2 is a triple, 3-20 is a single. It's a single, 2 stars. And this may be the beginning of the end for Charlie Hough. It is a 2-run single for Tabler to cut the lead to 7-3. And now Hough is fatigued. He is fatigued with 1 out. And you got a switch hitter coming up in Bernazard, then right-handers after that. Limited pitching available in the bullpen due to usage. Greg Harris pitched a bunch of innings in the previous game, so he's not available. So you have one right-hander, Dale Mahorsick, and you got a lefty Meredith and a lefty Wild Thing, Mitch Williams. Those are the guys remaining. So who might they want to go to at this point? Let's see who needs the work. Hello, Joel. Let's see who's overworked and who needs the work in the Texas bullpen. All right, in the Texas bullpen, Lloyd and Harris both pitched a lot of innings in the last game, so they're going to step aside. A guy who hasn't pitched much, but he's going to get a chance right now is Ron Meredith, left-hander. He's going to come in place of Charlie Hough. Huff's going to go 7 1/3. So Meredith will be the new pitcher. And on the replay, Meredith, this will only be his third appearance. He's 0-0 with a 6.35 earned run average. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 4 runs all earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. So he will be on the mound, and we'll get the numbers here on Hough, except for the runs allowed because we don't know about that base runner Tabler. It's his responsibility. We know Hough struck out 4, and we know he walked 7. See how many hits he gave up. 1, 2. I've only got him for 4 hits allowed, but the 7 walks really was a thing there. All right, Meredith is a -5 hold rating, which makes him a -4. Not that Cleveland's going to try to run. All right, so Tabler at first, not being held, 1 out, and here's Tony Bernazard. He will turn around and bat right-handed. That's a 2-7, and that's a strikeout. So Meredith comes in and strikes out Bernazard for out number 2. Brings up Corey Snyder. 7-3 the score now here in the 8th inning. 2-8 against the lefty. Struck him out. So Meredith comes in and strikes out the 2 he faces and limits the damage to 2 runs. So Charlie Hough can close the book on him. 3 earned runs in 7 1/3. He will go to 6-1 unless Cleveland makes a miraculous comeback in the 9th. He will improve to 6-1, and Carlton would drop to 1-1. So Wills is out to face Slot, Kunkel, and McDowell here in the 9th. That is a 2-10, right-handed, and that is a pop out to third base. So wouldn't you know it, Frank Wills will probably pitch 2 shutout innings because he's such a bad pitcher, but the dice rolls are going in his way. 4-4, and that's a fly ball center field X. So we're looking at Brett Butler. He's a 2E5. If you can hit to anybody in the outfield for Cleveland, he's a good guy to hit it to. 2E5, 2 1/13 is good all day long. That is a 12, and he is an E5 center fielder. E5, there's no 12, so good play for Butler. He makes the catch, 2 down, and Jeff Kunkel, the batter. Normally I'd pinch hit for Kunkel in the 9th inning, but score being what it is, you might as well leave him in there. Give him an extra at bat. 6-6 is off the pitcher anyway. It's a walk. What else is new? Another walk. So Kunkel's aboard, and that brings up O-B McDowell, top of the order, with 2 outs and Kunkel at first base. 5-7, and that is a ground ball second base X. I think it's second base. Let me double check it. Yep, second base X is what it shows on there. It's a ground ball second base X. That is Bernazard. He's a 4E22. 4 and a 16, he'll get to it. A 4 and a 16 will be a G2. That is a total of 11, and he is an E22 at second base. There's a 12, but no 11. So good play for Bernazard. And Frank Wills will pitch 2 shutout innings of relief. Go figure. He's going to go 2 shutout innings. He's going to give up 2 walks and record 2 strikeouts, but no hits, I don't believe. But 9 walks and 11 hits, so 20 base runners on base for the Rangers in this game. And now we go to the bottom of the 9th, last chance for Cleveland. Meredith will stay out there. He's got a fatigue of 2, so he's certainly good to go. Only pitched 2/3 of an inning. It'll be Jacoby, possibly a pinch hitter for Dempsey, and then Butler. .610. Jacoby's a right-hander. 6'10's a fly ball center field X. We're looking at McDowell. He's a 3E5. 3 and a 2. That's going to drop. Might be a double. 3 and a 2 is actually going to be a double. So Jacoby will hit a leadoff double. That's a 15, and McDowell is an E5. There's a 16, 17, but no 15, so it won't be an error, but it will be a double for Jacoby. And I think the Tribe will go to the bench for Rick Dempsey and get a better hitter out there. And it will be Carmen Castillo. Chris Banda would come in and catch if they miraculously tie this game. But Carmen Castillo will pinch hit for Dempsey. Ron Mahorsic loosening in the Texas bullpen just in case Meredith can't close the deal. Castillo, since he's a new batter, will get his numbers on the replay. Castillo, let's bring him up here. Castillo is hitting .257, 9 out of 35, 2 homers, 6 driven in. So kind of a part-time player, pinch hitter, that kind of deal. So Meredith to Castillo, 7-3, 1 out, nobody out in the bottom of the 9th. 6-7, and that's a single to right field off of Meredith. They will play station to station and hold Jacoby at third base. So runners on the corners, nobody out, and now Mahorsic pitching more in earnest as it could get to a save situation. Mahorsic has pitched 12 games so far. Mitch Williams has pitched in 13, so they'd rather go with Mahorsic if they had to. But runners on the corners, nobody out, and here's Brett Butler. Infield is back for the double play if they can turn it. 4-9, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop X. Nobody's being held on, so the shortstop, Fletcher, will be a 3E26. 3E26 for Scott Fletcher. 3 and a 14. Might have a chance at a double play. 3 and a 14 is only a G2, though. So his only play is the second base. That's an 11, and Fletcher's an E26 at short. There's a 12 there, but no 11. So good play, but it will be a 6-4 fielder's choice. Scoring on the play is Jacoby to cut the lead to 7-4. Reaching is Butler on the RBI fielder's choice. Hello, Mr. Gudeman. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope Bella is doing well as well. Here's Julio Franco. Now, the score 7-4. Let's see, 7-5. It is now a save situation. So with that in mind, the Rangers will go to their bullpen for Dale Mahorsic, a right-hander, to try to close the deal. Mahorsic. So Meredith will go Let's see what Meredith did. He got 2 strikeouts here, 1 out here, so he actually pitched 1 inning, giving up 2 hits and a run so far, but this run is his responsibility as well. No walks, 2 strikeouts. So Dale Mahorsic coming on to try to close the deal. On the replay, Mahorsic will be making his 13th appearance. He's 2-1 with no saves, a 6.35 earned run average. 17 innings pitched, 26 hits, 4 walks, 11 strikeouts. So Julio Franco is going to step in to face Mahorsic. Havoc roll, nothing happening. Franco has walked 3 times. 6-5, and he's going to hit a fly ball to center field that O.B. McDowell will put away. So 2 away, and we're down to the final out. It is Joe Carter. Final chance for the Tribe. They trail it 7-4. Need somebody to get on base to bring the tying run to the plate. 6-5, and that's another same exact roll. Fly ball to center. I think I rolled 6-5 twice, and that's your ball game. So Mahorsic does get credit for the save. Meredith will be charged with 1 earned run. Mahorsic goes 2/3 of an inning and gives up nothing, but he does earn his very first save of the season. Hough improves to 6-1. Carlton drops to 1-1. Get the final totals. For Texas, 7 runs. They do it on 11 hits. I don't believe either team made an error. Looks like neither team made an error. For Cleveland, 4 runs. They do it on 6 hits and no errors. However, Cleveland pitching walked 9 batters, and Texas pitching walked 7. So we had 16 walks in the ball game. 16 walks. So 16 walks combined with 17 hits. It's amazing the score was only 7-4. But Texas wins it. They improve to 13-16. Cleveland drops to 14-18, and that finishes the May 12th games. We now can move on to May 13th. And if I look at the Strat computer, let me see who the first game on May the 13th would be. Let's pull that up. Should be the same team matchup, so I just got to figure out which order to do it in. And it looks like the Orioles hosting. The Orioles will be, actually there are going to be a few changes on the pitching, on the team matchup. Some teams did move around. So there are actually going to be new team matchups at some point. But we're going to be looking at Kansas City at Baltimore. Good pitching matchup. Mark Gubiza for the Royals against Mike Boddicker for the Orioles. That'll be the first game on the May 13th block. It'll be game number 219 once we get there. But tomorrow will be Friday Fun Day, where I pick a game I haven't played in a while. I'm not going to say what game that is yet. I kind of gave a spoiler to it in one of the earlier streams, but I won't mention it here. But I'll pick a game that I haven't played in a long time, just to be different. That's why I call it Friday Fun Day, just something to mix it up. So I'm not doing strat and inside pitch all the time. So just, mix it up a little bit, a little variety. Variety is the spice of life, so they say. Yes, Jeremiah, you are correct. Yes. So that will be the game. I don't know what season I'll do yet or what game it'll be, but I'll pick a game to play it. And I'm going to probably record it today because last Friday I tried to do it live, but that was the Friday morning that I ran into the yellow jacket problem. I don't want to have that happen again. Not that I'm going to be out cutting grass today, but I still don't want anything to happen to that. So I think I'm probably better off to record it. And that way I know it's done. And especially if a game I haven't played in a while, it's probably better anyway, because that way I'm not going to be distracted. I can make sure I got my rules down and everything like that. So anyway, Charlie Hough improves, he's the 6-game winner now on the replay as he improves to 6-1. So can't be mad at him for that. He's done the job. He didn't pitch his best, but he got the run support early that he needed. And poor Steve Carlton just didn't have a chance. So I hope you all are enjoying your Thursday wherever you are and whatever you've got going on. So I'm going to set up for the Fun Day Friday here very shortly and play that offline. And we'll see how that goes. Of course, Saturday will be the NBC return of the NBC game of the week on season ticket baseball. And that will be, the next game will be Houston at Pittsburgh, 1978 National League. Houston at Pittsburgh will be the matchup there on season ticket baseball. And on Sunday night will be game 4 of the Sparky Anderson Bowl, where we have the 1976 Reds taking on the 1984 Tigers in a what-if World Series. You're welcome, Charles. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. And it's, like I said, it's more fun when we have interactions, and that's all part of the community and whatnot. So probably need to, I do enjoy, obviously I enjoy the games, but it's nice sometimes to have just discussions and whatnot. Or so when we did when we had some interviews going on at one time, that was pretty cool. Still I haven't decided yet. I'm still thinking about it because it's not really my style. I'm not really comfortable at it, but still thinking about pulling out a Dirt with Demos feature and doing some sort of a either an interview with somebody or just a monologue on something, some topic of the hobby, just to do a discussion. I haven't decided yet if I'm actually up for that. I may leave that to the experts like Gardner and some others, but my lane is playing the games, not doing the other stuff. But sometimes maybe it's nice to branch out. We shall see. I don't know. I don't really like to be on the other side of the webcam. I like to be back behind the webcam. That's my comfortable position to be. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, next game. And I've got to flip the score sheet over and start filling it in for that Baltimore Kansas City game. As we said, it's going to be Mike Boddicker. It'll be game number 219 and the first game on the May 13th block of 1987. And it'll be Boddicker for the Orioles against Gubaza. So I don't know if ID Jester will show up for that or not because he's a big Gubaza guy. Gubaza. That would be a coup to get ID Jester on for an interview. That would be a coup, would it not? He interviewed me a long time ago, so maybe it's time to turn the tables and try something like that. I don't know if he'd be up to something like that or not. Anyway, I've got a couple games already scheduled for the next few Fridays on Fun Day Friday, different games to play. Since I got stung out last Friday and not able to do it, that game's been moved back to the 25th of July. Next Friday will be the game that I was going to play the past Friday, so it just got bumped back. And then the first week of August, I'll be doing yet another game that I've played before, but not in a long time. So that's the criteria. It's not a brand new game I've never played. It's just a game I haven't played in a long time. So it won't be Strat, it won't be inside pitch, and it won't be payoff pitch because I already did payoff pitch on the Fun Day Friday already. So it won't be those three, but there'll be other games that I haven't played in a long time, but that I own and that I have played at some point. But anyway, that's going to do it from here. I hope you had enjoyable time watching the Strat-O-Matic. I know when I was working, I always enjoyed watching, or if I couldn't watch it because I was driving around, I'd listen to the games. So just something to just kept me connected to the hobby and whatnot. So if I can give back a little bit of that, then all the better. But that's pretty much going to do it. Hope you all have a nice Thursday and upcoming weekend. Whatever you have planned, I'm not sure. But Stay safe out there, whatever it is. Enjoy the hobby, no matter what game it is. Whether it's Strat, whether it's even baseball, could be something else. You never know. So I'm just, while I'm talking here, I'm just filling in the score sheet for the upcoming game between the Orioles and the Royals, which will be the next game on the Strat-O-Matic replay, game number 219. It's hard to believe I've played 219 games already, but I've got to go over 1,000 to get to the end game on this. So it will take a while. It'll at least be sometime into next year before I even think about possibly doing anything like that. Thank you, Charles. That is really, really generous. I appreciate you doing that. I don't, as you know, I don't. Unlike some other channels, I don't have any kind of membership or any of that stuff or whatever these other people do. So, Bob, what grinds your gears? Is it you talking about doing that as a topic, or are you going to tell us what grinds your gears, or are you saying that as a possible subject to do? I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. I'm definitely open to suggestions for sure. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I could do something. The only bad part about doing something like that is it's going to come across as negative, and I don't like being a negative person. But maybe frame it in the form of constructive criticism, perhaps. Maybe that's a way to do it. I don't know. Possibly, maybe. So if you want to get a preview of Kansas City and Baltimore, I'll start filling it. Willie Wilson's back. He's finally back in the lineup. He's starting center field leadoff for the Royals. Oops. He's starting in center field, hitting leadoff for the Royals. So Willie Wilson is back. He's been on the injured list for a while. He was on the roster but wasn't starting. I was beginning to wonder about him, but now he's back. And Jeffrey Guterman can relate to this. This is like the Strat Zen he was doing in his videos back in the day. Dark sense of humor, huh? I don't know. Some people think I have I don't know what they think. I used to try to be entertaining at work in the office environment before I got laid off and several years ago. And people told me to go back to my cubicle. So I don't know. I guess it depends on. And who else is coming back? We got another Kansas City Royal that is coming back to the fray after being out for a long, long time. In fact, I've got to go to the minor leagues, my minor league envelope to get him, and that's George Brett. George Brett is making his return for the Royals. So this is actually going to be an interesting game coming up because we're going to get Willie Wilson and George Brett back. So I got to figure out on the Strat computer who it is that that gets sent down to the minors because George Brett is back. Brett is back. So Brett's going to actually be at third base. He not just at first base, but he's going to be at third base. Not very good for E37, but he's back either way. So the Royals definitely can use that to their advantage. Oops. That's why I tape these things to them. I use a single piece of paper, but I use this old Strat Scorebook B to kind of as a backing. That's kind of how I do it. But I usually take a little piece of tape so the thing doesn't slide all over the place. But so then we have Thad Bosley. This is impromptu lineup things and not exactly zen like when Jeffrey Guterman did it, but it's something, I guess. 4+1, but you can see how I do my score sheet before the game. This is what I usually do pre-game. I usually do these. I fill out the whole day, like 4 or 5 sheets before I even start the first game. Normally I'll sit up in bed and have my Strat computer up there and just fill everything in ahead of time, but just felt like doing this one now. I don't know why. Just felt like it. Sometimes ideas hit you. They may not always be good ideas, but they hit you. And it was like, okay. And my penmanship obviously is not the best. I can read it, but not saying many other people can. That's why I'm kind of envious of Spokane Steve. He has excellent penmanship. His score sheets look immaculate. Let's see, bye-bye Balboni. But maybe I represent the percentage of people who have bad handwriting, and so they can relate to me. I don't know. All right, then we got Salazar and Quirk, the last. So no Bo Jackson and no Danny Tartable. That's interesting. No Bo Jackson and no Danny Tartable. And Quirk. Jamie Minute Quirk. Who can it be now? Jamie Quirk. He was a T3. Got to go to the computer to get his pass ball rating, so I'll do that later. But there's your starting lineup. And your pitcher is the aforementioned Mark Gubaza. He's a +1 hold with a +2. A +1 from Quirk makes him a +2. So let me bring up the Strat computer for them to get his balk and pass ball numbers so I can fill it all in and be complete. So when the time comes to play this game, I'll be ready. Gubas is 2 and 3 on the replay. He's a wild pitch of 12 and a balk of 2. All right. More importantly, I got to see who's been taken off the roster. Or do they just add guys? I don't know. So on the bench, they are showing available Danny Tartable, Bo Jackson, Larry Owen, George Ora, Buddy Biancalana, and Hal McRae. So Bill Pacoda is out. Either he's injured or back to the minor leagues, and George Brett takes his place. So that's the roster move, is Brett in, Pacoda out. That is the roster move. And then pitching, I think, is still the same. The available pitchers, Steve Farr, Gumpert, Quisenberry, and Don Gleaton from the left side. I think that's it for them. That's what they've got. So that's what we have. In fact, let me go ahead and do this. Might as well peel the curtain off everything, all right? It's not very artistic, but I just do this to keep that tape down so it doesn't slide all over the place. Not really lined up the way I want it. Let's do it this way. It's close enough. There we go. Okay, now it won't be sliding all over the place. So Kansas City, get to the box score and get their records. Strat Computer is very helpful. I don't like to play it as a standalone, but it's very helpful getting all the information I need. The Royals come into the game 14 and 15. Baltimore comes in 13 and 19. So not a classic matchup by any means, but just the way it is. You got to play them as they lie. Mike Boddicker comes into the game 3 and 2. And he's going to have a wild pitch rating of 9, balk of 0. His hold is a +3, which is not all that great. Kennedy's a 0, so he will be a +3 on his hold rating. So now look at the Orioles lineup. I don't think they had any roster changes of any kind. We got the not so great Alan Wiggins leading off, and he will be at second base. Lee Lacey's at right. Oops, look at that. Can't even spell Lacey right. Kidding me? I guess you could do it phonetically as Lacey, but that's not how it's spelled, obviously. A little dyslexic there on the spelling. So let's see if I can tidy this up here. Lee Lacey. Boy, that's a terrible correction thing there. That out of there. Lee Lacey He's in right field. And then, of course, you got the standard Ripken, Murray, and Lynn. We got Knight and Kennedy. And I am enjoying retirement, by the way. I've not had a single moment where I was bored. I've always found something to do that either needs to be done out in the yard or in the house. With the heat and the rain lately, it's been mostly indoors. Although when I was dodging Yellow Jackets, I did manage to mow the lawn. Oh, Justin went to Double-A for a month. Okay, cool. Good deal. Surprised he went to Double-A and not Triple-A. That's kind of weird. I don't know. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that was. I don't think Tabby wants an interview. She's in her box. I mean, I took a video of her the other day in her box, but I'm not sure she's up for any kind of she's not exactly talkative. Let's see, Lee Lacey, 4, 0, and an E10, and a 16. Ripken, 2E20, 14. Let's see, Murray. Where's Murray on here? I went way down here. Murray is a 2E10 with a 12. Lynn's a 303 with a 13. Ray Knight's a 4E23. And a slow runner is an 8, slowest you can have. Kennedy, 40E4. His T rating is a 2. Runs at a 9. Let's see Kennedy's pass ball rating. The only thing I'm missing there is Kennedy's pass ball rating. And that is a 2 as well. And also need to get the pass ball rating for Quirk. Forgot to get his pass ball rating. His pass ball rating is a 6. All right, now back to Baltimore to finish out the lineup and look at their bench and make sure nothing weird happened. All right, so Sheets. Let's bring out Sheets here. There he is. Left field, he's a 4 plus 1 E8, and he runs at a 9. And Mike Young is your designated hitter. Where is Mike Young? There's Boddicker. Got to have him. Young. Need to get Young out of the minors. He must have just got called up or come back from injury or something, because he wasn't in my folder or in my team envelope. He was in the minors. So that means Baltimore is going to lose somebody, and we're going to gain Mike Young. So Mike Young got to be somewhere. I don't see him on the minors either. Where did he go? Where did you go, Mike Young? Why am I missing Mike Young's card? Must have got mixed up in the pitchers somehow. Let me make sure he didn't get mixed up with the pitching. This is the kind of thing I do before the games, is get all this stuff out of the way and try to get it straight. But I don't see Mike Young. He might accidentally have been put in the other team's. Who did they play last? Let's see. Baltimore played Minnesota last, I think. So maybe he got accidentally put in Minnesota's folder. But I do that sometimes when I'm putting the cards away. I'll put them in the wrong team. I'm sure no one's ever done that before, but I did it. So let me check Minnesota's roster and make sure I didn't put him in there by mistake. I did make up these little sheets. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to use them, but I took the time to make them for each team. These little sheets here that have the ratings already done on them. So I probably should have used that instead of messing with the computer, but it's got the, all the ratings and whatnot, defensive ratings, and on the backside, well, I don't have on the backside, but it's got the pitcher's balk and hold ratings and wild pitch ratings already in there, plus the ballpark effects. So I really should have done that, should have been using that instead of using the Strat computer would have been quicker. But now I got to find the case of the missing Mike Young. Obviously, his card's around somewhere because he was carded. I've used him many, many times. I'm checking Minnesota now to see if he somehow got put in there. I'm not seeing him over here either. So I don't know. I'll have to figure out what happened to Mike Young. Hopefully I can find him. He's got to be around here somewhere. I might have to check every team's, probably got to check every team's envelope to see if he got somehow accidentally put in there. So I don't know what happened to him. Oh, there he is. He was stuck behind Ron Washington in the minor league folder. That's what happened to him. So there's Mike Young. And Mike Young, he's a DH, but he runs at a 14. Okay, so there's Mike Young. He is there. Okay. Now on the bench, we got to make sure I got all the bench players I need. And we have Ken Gerhardt. So he's on the bench. We have Rick Burleson. We have Jim Dwyer. And we have Rene Gonzalez and Dave Van Gorder. So Nelson Simmons is the one who goes to the minors or injured or whatever. So Mike Young will take Simmons' place on the roster. And the bullpen's pretty much the same. It's going to be Mark Williamson, Ken Dixon. Let's see here. A newbie, Jack O'Connor. Oh, and Don Ossie is back. Okay, wow. According to Strat Computer, they brought Don Ossie back. So let me see if I can get Don Ossie's card out here. Now, he's one that I had to make myself. I didn't get this. This one wasn't included when Joel sent me his printouts. So Don Ossie, I had to do that myself, which is fine. It's serviceable. I can use it. So Don Ossie is there. So that means somebody else had to leave. So is it Tony Arnold? Yes, Tony Arnold has been sent to the minor leagues, and Don Ossie has come back from injury. So boy, you got to keep up these transactions and make sure you get the right guys in the ball game that's supposed to be there. So they have 4 relief pitchers. Because Dave Schmidt pitched so many innings in the last game, he's actually tired. So he's going to have to rest. He will have to rest. And they also dropped this guy, Kununen, is back to the minors as well. So they do have Dave Schmidt in the bullpen, but he is tired, so I will put him at the back of the list. He would be the last guy to go to in case of emergency, but other than that, really would be using the other guys. So that's what I do. That's how I get my stuff together for the next game. So now the Royals and the Orioles are ready to go when it's time. Score sheet's ready to go when it's time. And in the meantime, we got the updated rosters, which was important. So yeah, if anybody has any ideas about topics to talk about, I got the one idea already about possibly doing something that, as the phrase goes, where'd it go here? Grinds my gears. Okay, so that's an idea to have. Charles, I usually do it. I used to do it as I played the games, but now lately, since I've gone to this format, I kind of just have the Strat computer up to get the stats off of it. I come back after the game is over, and I'll take the score sheet and in my computer and input the stats manually at that point, or the game manually at that point. I'll put it on manual dice rolls, or manual entry, not manual dice rolls, and just take whatever the score sheet said, and that's what I'll use. But when I first started this, I would score it as I played it, and it got a little cumbersome, I thought. Kind of slowed down the game a little bit. So it doesn't take long to put in the game after the fact. So it's not, humongously bad. So, and of course, my dice tower, my bottom is right here. I use it as a backstop when I play the Strat. Now I'm playing other games, of course. Then Dice Tower comes right back in to normal procedures when I do inside pitch or whatever. But anyway, thank you all for listening to me. What's the word for it? Meander, ramble. Maybe that's the best word for it. Ramble. I'm going to get ready to record the Fun Day Friday game. And if you've been paying attention, you know what game engine that is. You just don't know what season or what game it's going to be. I'm going to try to pick a game from July 18th because that's the day it will be presented. It was going to be tomorrow, July 18th. So I've got a game already picked out. And unless I think of anything else, I'll probably do that. Oh, Jeremiah, how to start your own channel. That's interesting. It was 10 years ago when I started mine, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Not that I know what I'm doing now, but I really didn't know what I was doing from there. Hello, Brian B. Hope your doctor's appointment went okay. Yeah, PC Replay. I love the way the game that they have the best input manually. The seasons are so darn expensive, though. So any game I don't have in Strat that I want to keep stats for, I use Digital Diamond because it's cheap, and I'm cheap. So frugal, cheap, whatever. I'll say it. I'm not frugal. I'm cheap. A checkup. Well, it's always good to get a checkup. There you go. And I hope you weren't disappointed too much about last night's Sparky Bowl results. But there's still more games to go, and they're still in good shape as far as I'm concerned. Wow, Charge, you got a lot. I thought I had a lot of strat seasons or whatever, but no, I don't have very many, especially on PC. I don't have that many. That's right. It's incorporating stat. The Digital Diamond does incorporate Status Pro. That is correct. So, all right. I think I'm going to go ahead and what time is it anyway? It's 10:35, something like that. I'm going to go downstairs, check on Tabby, maybe have one last cup of coffee, and then input this game I just played in the Strat computer, and then set up for my Fun Day Friday recording and get that out there so I can have it ready for tomorrow morning. And then also make sure I'm all set up for Saturday's NBC Game of the Week. Make sure I got my Pittsburgh and Houston teams all lined up and lineups picked out and everything like that. Because when I come up here on Saturday, I want to be ready to go. I don't want to be fidgeting for stuff or fumbling for stuff. So, but those are good topics to choose from if I decide to do that. I mean, it's a big if. Believe me, it's a big if because it's not really my wheelhouse to use a payoff pitch term. It is definitely not in my wheelhouse to do something like that. But yep, 79 inside pitch. I did a World Series on that not that long ago. Was pretty fun. Anything inside pitch is pretty fun. They just have a couple things that I wish they do differently, but other than that, it's right up there with Strat-O-Matic as my favorite game. I can try Canadian. I'm not that. I'd have to use OBS, and I don't know the whole lot about OBS. A couple times I've tried it. I can get the screen up, but when I get to a drop-down menu, for some reason it wouldn't show the drop-down menu. I mean, I could try it and see if I could get it to work, but I'm not a technical guru, so I'm not really sure how to do that. And like I said, OBS is what I've been using or attempted to use. So I could possibly try and do something like that, but I don't know. I can give it a look and see. And sometimes I have sound issues with OBS where I'll record something and it won't pick up the right sound. So I don't know. All right, folks. I've rambled on well more than I should be. I'll look into it, Canadian. I will give it an earnest look and see if I can get it to work. If I can get it to work, I'll do something with it because the couple times I have used OBS to put something out, it did all right, but like you say, it's finicky and sometimes the sound won't pick up right or it won't pick up a certain screen. It's just really technically above my pay grade, I think, because I'm not very technical at it. So, all right, everybody have a great day out there. Enjoy your Thursday. The weekend's coming up. So, whatever you got planned for that, enjoy that. On the channel coming up again will be the Fun Day Friday tomorrow. And that'll be a recording. So, I'll put that out first thing Friday morning. I'll record it tonight. And then Saturday, of course, will be the NBC game of the week on season ticket baseball, and that will be the Pittsburgh Pirates hosting the Houston Astros. 1978, first game back, our first NBC game of the week back after the All-Star break. So that will be the game there. I believe it's Candelaria against Limongello, but don't quote me on the pitching matchup, but I think that's who it is. And then, of course, Sunday night will be Sparky Bowl game number 4 between the 1976 Reds and the 1984 Tigers on inside pitch. So I'll be doing that one on game 4 on Sunday night, probably around 8:30 to 9-ish at whatever time RJL finishes his game. I'll do that. And after that, it's going to be whatever comes to mind. So I'll dabble into the thoughts of possibly doing some sort of a Dirt with Demos feature on the topics that were presented. If I can get the computer thing to work, I'll definitely look into that. I don't know. But depending on me to get a computer thing to work is not necessarily the best option in the world for optimism, but anything is liable to happen. All right, so I'm going to go down, drink my last cup of coffee, check on Tabby, make sure she's doing all right, and then get set up and ready this afternoon to record the Fun Day Friday game for you guys. So, again, final score, Texas defeats the Cleveland Indians by the score of 7-4. So, Charlie Hough gets his 6th win. Carlton takes his first loss, and Mahorsic had to come in late to get the save. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.